Hello everyone, I'm Quite Mike. I've taken the NCLEX 3 times and I passed my last try. I've been getting a couple messages from you, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or even down in the comments below, about how I went about going through all my process, and you're even asking for advice. Hi Mike, compliments of the season. I stumbled on your YouTube page last night and I am 100% motivated. My NCLEX is on the 2nd of February and this is my second time testing. I suffered a little depression after my first attempt, and I just started studying again. But for some reason, I'm not as pushed as I was when I studied the first time. Please, I need suggestions on how to study to pass this time. I don't have enough time left, and I'm already feeling I'd fail again. In this certain situation, I can relate to her. Once I failed the first time, I felt, I was thinking in the back of my mind, what if I fail again? And it's normal. I do feel bad though because, you've set your date, and if you can push it back, I would like you to push it back, because here you started saying that you scheduled your exam for February 2nd. Now, right now it's December 27th, so you have about a month. Do you think that you'll be ready by then, or do you think that you have a solid ground of critical thinking? Have you gone through enough questions and answers and rationales for you to be confident, at least to say that you've gotten this high, all you have to do is just maintain it? So if the exam is going to question you on a bunch of things that have to be related to the patient's safety, you need to pick up on what are the red flags. Most of the time when anybody asks me for advice for the NCLEX, the only thing I can say is critical thinking. Develop your critical thinking. For you to say that you already scheduled your exam, or at least this is the last date, when you could have put it off a little longer, it's kind of like rushing yourself and putting unnecessary stresses on yourself. In my case, I was fortunate enough to not have to go to work or anything. I could just stay home, focus on studies. After I failed my first time, I was thinking, I just need to do a little bit, I just need to tweak a little bit of my studying method, and I could pass, for sure. But in the back of my mind, when I was taking my exam the second time, I was really scared of what would happen if I passed or what would happen if I failed, because it felt like I was trying to prove something to someone, and in actuality, it seems like in the end, I ended up getting distracted because I lost focus of what this exam really means and who it's really focused on. It's not about me. It's about the safety of the patient. And if I can't get the red flags, in certain situations or scenarios, how can I prove that I'm worthy to be a nurse, right? And if February 2nd really is your last day to take the exam, and you push it back as far as you can, and I guess you have some kind of dilemma where, this is really like my last shot, or at least my last shot in a long time, well then, all I can do is just emphasize questions and answers. And when I say this, I'm already thinking that you've already had the experience of going through different theories. You already get some concepts. You got most concepts down. I understand when you take the NCLEX, they're just like, oh, study psych, study this med surg, study this pediatrics, oh, maternity. Let me remind you that practically when you go into the nursing field, you're not going to be a master at all these things. So if there's like some kind of rare disease in pediatrics or med surg, most likely you won't be asked about it. And if you do get that question wrong, it's only one question. Some things that I would focus on is definitely anything related to patient safety. You're an entry-level nurse. You shouldn't be worried about trying to cram every little thing about every different topic and concept. Critical thinking. That's what you can apply across the board with any subject. I think the big difference between my second time and my third time taking the exam was that I eventually just gave up. I got down and I prayed and I said, God, I know this is your calling for me. And usually what happens in my life is that I winded up doing something wrong. It's not God's fault, but it's my fault because, I put all these stresses on me. I put all these burdens on me. God provides the way. But I cloud my thinking because I'm always thinking of something else. Oh, what if that? What if this? What if this? What if that? And that's exactly what was going on in my mind my second try. And when I sat down for my third try at taking the exam, all I could pray for was peace, because I knew that in order to pass this exam, I can't be distracted. So if you're feeling afraid that you might fail again, I would start praying for peace and for a clear mind. And it's time to like write down your thoughts and feelings in some journal or something, or really write down the things you really need to focus on. You know, when we ask for advice for the NCLEX, maybe we ask for some kind of secret formula. And for me, I would literally just say questions, answers, and critical thinking. And, you know, for more power to you. You know, pray more, study more, and rest better. I think it's time to really take the challenge of being fearless and really accept whatever outcomes may happen. When I finished my exam the third try, I was like, God, it's all in your hands. You know, I did my best. I'm gonna let you do the rest. And then when I look back to see how my last preparation was, like my last months of preparation before my last exam, you know, I tried to always think myself every day that I was studying to always just let go, right? If I did poor on a practice exam, you know, if I did poor on a practice exam, no big deal. It's okay. I can try again tomorrow, or the next time, but just make sure that I got a concept down. I'm not supposed to know everything, and that's okay. If you're in control to give yourself more time, do give yourself more time. Instead of trying to fit 100 questions in a day. If you can do 25 for today, 25, call it a day. If tomorrow you think you can do 50, okay, do 50. If the next day you think you can do 75, okay, do 75. Now that I'm working on the floor and even as an orientee, but I think you really can see who are the newbies and who aren't, because, you know, not only do they not know what they're doing, but because they kind of like worry about all these different things and everything's just coming at them all at once and they don't know how to digest it, they don't know how to put it in place. And that's the same for the NCLEX. You're going to be an entry-level nurse. You're getting crammed with all this review material and you don't know where to place it. You don't see how you're going to use it, so you kind of hold on to everything thinking that, you know, it's all going to fit in your hands and I'm supposed to know all this and I'm supposed to, you know, get it all in the first try and, you know, I'm hopefully going to pass with all of this. So do take the time to really like reflect and, you know, reevaluate what kind of things that you're studying. You know, are the questions that you're taking, are they like knowledge based where you either know it or you don't know it? Or are they kind of questions that really make you think critically? Like, can you like pick out certain things in the question to help you answer it? And once you've like established that, you should like focus more on the critical thinking questions and less on the knowledge-based questions. Which is why personally I would recommend UWorld or Lippincott and less on NCLEX-RN Mastery. It's been a while since I've used NCLEX-RN Mastery, but you know, when I was still reviewing, you know, Lippincott and UWorld was really the best. And it's not like UWorld is some kind of magical, you know, review material that, you know, everybody passes. You can still do UWorld and still fail. But you have to pick up on being able to use critical thinking. If you're just going in there answering questions and going through the rationales, just reading through them, hoping that, you know, one day they'll diffuse and you'll be able to understand it all, you're not going to benefit from it. So take your time. You know, I want you to be able to feel and control that you do have the time. You do have enough time. Okay? And really it's just reinforcing those concepts. So if there's really something that you don't understand, take the moment, take a breather, go back and look at what you need to understand. Understand the body as a whole. What happens, you know, if my kidney fails? You know, what happens to the rest of my body? Or, you know, what kind of things do I have to consider if I'm getting a kidney transplant? And if you can't answer those questions right now, it's okay. You're reviewing. You can still answer those questions one at a time. Preparing for the NCLEX is like preparing for a marathon. Run a little bit more each day. Study more and do a little more questions each day. If all you can do is 25 questions a day for the next 4 weeks, and that's all you can handle, more power to you. If you can add a little more, 50, 75, alright. You don't have to always go crazy and do 200 questions. I do have classmates who wind up passing in a month, not knowing what the NCLEX was or is like. And you know, being a second and third time test taker, I should have an advantage because I know what not to do. So for you, I want you to know that this time can be different because you've experienced the exam already and you've already experienced failure. And that's okay, but look back and really see what things you need to let go of, because those are the things that are really holding you back. And if you have your own personal questions to send me, feel free to send it on my Facebook like page. I usually get notifications there. And if you found this video helpful, you can go down below and also hit that like button. So with all that said, study well, rest best, and pray the most. God bless.